Shalom Ubraha. After praying and receiving a vision about what is going to happen in the government of Chile, about its current president, José Antonio Kast, I am going to talk about what I saw in the vision and what was completely revealed to me. Many people have written to me and asked me to say what the government of their country, Chile, is going to be like. I mean, many Chileans and people who live there, even foreigners, have asked me what this man's government in Chile is going to be like. And I'm going to tell you what I saw. I was going to make a video prophesying that this man was going to be the president, but everyone knows that I'm on a tour in the United States and Latin America, which didn't give me time to make that video. But I owe him this, because I promised to pray to tell him how the government will be during this man's 4 years in office. Listen carefully. A lot of people told me, pray to God so that God shows you. Well, I owed it to that cry, to that prayer, and to that revelation to say how things are going to be. Look, I'm going to tell you what I saw, what God showed me, what God made me see, what God made me feel, what the Lord dealt with me about. And it's that this man is going to try to govern Chile well. This man will try to govern Chile well, but scandals he causes will impact his administration. Brother, for example, this man, brother, will be accused of things that will be partly true, because this is what I saw in the spiritual world. And brother, about state funds, the man, what I'm saying is very serious, brother, you know? But I have to say the things that God showed me. This man will be accused of things related to state funds from Chile. Yes, brother, with money, with embezzlement, with this. They will rise up against him and talk to him, brother, about financial matters in that area. Because I saw a dispute, like a scandal, in a vision that had to do with that, brother, where they were talking to him about money. And I could see, brother, I saw a lot of people in the street, many protesters, many of whom were even foreigners. And it was because very strong decisions were being made, like those related to migration. This president was going to try to follow Donald Trump's lead on that. And I saw him cracking down hard on immigration. He assigned a team. And they were going to look for people. They even, brother, went into many people's houses. Regarding migration, I saw many people marching against migration, because this was a topic that came up during this man's government. Migration was sending a lot of people out. This man was going to try to govern well in the fear of God, in the fear of the Lord. However, he was going to make mistakes that would cause him to be pursued and have people rise up against him. If he listens to this video, I hope he does. Because the Lord wants him to ask God for guidance to govern, to lead the government of his country. And this is what the Lord showed me about the government of José Antonio Kast, the president of Chile. He was going to try to govern well. But there were things that were going to leave a stain. And he has to ask God for wisdom to lead his government. Do you know why? God is the one who removes and appoints kings, both good and bad. But the Lord, brother, likes it when the righteous govern so that the people rejoice. Something I saw, brother, that I liked in the spiritual world about the government that was going to happen. What happened? That it was against ideologies and advocated, brother, listen carefully, for family principles. And I liked it, brother, because that's God's principle, God's design for the family. And I saw this man, brother, that he fought hard against these radical inclusivist groups in Chile who try to bring in sodomy, who try to bring in a lot of wickedness. And this man confronted them and took away their strength. That's what he did. He just applauded, you know? But I know that he will hear this message, hopefully he can see it, and that he should be careful with the people around him. Because sometimes it's not the president himself who does it, brother, but people who are part of the government leadership, the cabinet. They do strange things, brother. They misappropriate funds, and then, brother, the blame, the consequences fall on the president, because he's the one who knows about that. So, Be very careful with who you surround yourself with. Be very careful with people who are part of your government's cabinet. Ask God for wisdom. Surround yourself with a prophet. Look for a prophet to be your advisor. Look for a good pastor to be your advisor, because you're going to need one. So, this is what I saw in the vision about what was going to happen during the government of this president named José Antonio Kast. As you well know, the Lord has allowed me to prophesy about around 11 presidents and what their governments would be like. And well, for those I don't prophesy about, I tell you what their government will be like. If people ask me, this is new, because I usually don't, not even brother, even if God gives it to me, say what a president's administration will be like if I didn't prophesy that he would win. I don't like that. Why, brother? I like things to play out completely. Since God tells me that's my way, brother, of enjoying myself in the prophetic, because I like to make use of the tools that God gave me in the prophetic. From the moment I prophesy about a president to how his time in that government will end, brother, from how he will begin, from how they will put him in office, from how he will win to how he will end. And that's what we've done. But a lot of people asked me, brother, they wrote to me from Chile, from abroad. Look, we especially want to know how this is going to be. People who live there, right? Looking for a future, for something better. What will happen, man of God? Make a video. And I tell you what the Lord showed me. What I just told you is going to make a big impact in Chilean newspapers, both national and international. Because that's what I was able to see, brother. How this man was going to govern. God is the one who removes and appoints kings, brother. God made José Antonio Kast president of Chile. And, well, the Lord allowed that for him to be here to govern this nation. Now what remains to be done is for this man to govern according to the law of Jehovah, according to the law of God, according to the Lord's design. Because if he doesn't do it that way, well, the Lord will also hold him accountable. So, that's what I saw, brother, in the spiritual world. I saw it through revelation. That's what I saw in José Antonio Kast's government. A major scandal was building against him, brother, because of something they were doing there in his administration, brother. It involved money. They were covering up something that happened here, brother. And then God showed me that this man wanted to do things right in his government, that this man wanted to move the country forward, the economy. And God showed me this man, point number 3, that he was going after immigrants just like Donald Trump is going after them in the United States. I saw that in a vision. The persecution of immigrants was very noticeable. Point number 4. I could see in the vision that this man would rise up and literally attack groups. Listen carefully, these are groups pushing inclusivism. To sodomite groups that have wanted to enter the nation of Chile, brother. Inclusivism, sodomy, the values, anti-family, do you know what I mean? To people that the elites send and allocate hundreds of millions of dollars to so they can introduce this into the nations, brother. All kinds of satanic aberrations, starting with television, brother. Even events, even shows with artists tied to the elite, you know? So, and political movements too that have to do with this. This is what I saw in the vision. God put this man here for that, brother. And with him, brother, the economy in Chile was going to improve a bit. Because Chile's economy was wounded, but this man was doing things to improve it. But in the end, I saw that a great scandal arose against this man. It wasn't a small thing, brother. It was something that made a lot of noise. Because I even saw it on the country's national news and many other reports that talked about this, brother. About what happened with this man. I can't tell you for sure that it was him, brother, but I saw that it was something that happened during his government. They blamed him, brother. If it happens in his administration, in his cabinet, the blame will fall on the president. So, this man should seek prophetic guidance so that God can guide him. He should be told to move this way, not that way, and not let so-and-so in. Don't let so-and-so through there. Because, brother, Milei didn't do that. So now Milei, brother, he is facing consequences because of this. President Milei of Argentina, whom God used me to prophesy about. This man didn't seek a counselor, a prophet. I told him. That's why, brother, I told him. The prophecy about Milei is conditional. If you don't do what I'm telling you, you're going to get in trouble. If you do it, God and the people will honor you. Let me tell you something, brother. God have mercy. I pray to God to give Milei wisdom, but this is Milei, brother. I made one of the biggest mistakes a president can make. Not seeking an advisor is, to me, his biggest mistake. Your government will depend on that. He doesn't look for a prophetic advisor like me, brother. Someone who tells him what he should and shouldn't do. Now, he has to pay for it, you know? Milei has to pay for it. And with the people, brother, I'm not saying this man is doing wrong, but he has made mistakes. There are groups that won't forgive him for that, brother. Just like Donald Trump is doing. Do you know why, brother? Because he didn't seek one. They know about government. But the Bible knows about laws, brother. The Bible knows about laws. Laws are imposed by the Bible. Do you understand? So, when you don't consider the Bible to make decisions, I'm not saying that you aren't believers. I'm not saying they lack fear. They fear God and are believers. God put them there. But there's a huge mistake. What is that mistake? When you don't seek prophetic and Christian guidance to move forward. No, because they have that. No, ma'am. That's not a fortune teller. That's the role of a prophet, not a fortune teller. That advisor to a president is the role of a prophet, not a pastor. The Bible says so. Where does the Bible say that? The advisors to the kings. Who were the prophets? Who was it that spoke to the kings, to the presidents? Move like this, a patul? No, a prophet. Because the prophet is the one who sees what is going to happen. And he can tell you, be careful. Not even when I tell them on video, brother. They don't listen, they don't understand. I know they've seen my videos. Milei, look, something like this, like that, look. They'll betray you here. Donald Trump will rise up. They just don't get it, gentlemen. I won't bother explaining. Saying things that probably, brother, they won't even hear. Why do they watch it? Deep down, it's pride, even if God put him there. But they still have pride. That's why God will act, brother. They've also partly given themselves over. Many people despise him, even though they've stood with God, even if they're afraid. They don't listen, so I don't get involved anymore. Sometimes, brother, I don't even want to discuss that. So it doesn't even get to him. Because, look, people close to Milei have signed me up. Who know Miley's girlfriend? Who know Milei? Close to him, who talks to that family. A journalist wrote to me. She said, I'm going to show your video to Milei. Because it touched me, a very famous journalist from Argentina. She told me, you are a genuine prophet. Wow. How did you prophesy what's happening in my country? We talked. I spoke with people close to Donald Trump. They sent my email to Donald Trump. They sent my email, my prophetic message, to Marco Rubio. Yes, the message is getting through, gentlemen. And all the presidents that God has spoken to me about who have heard the message. Now, do they believe it? I don't know. But they will remember me when it comes to pass. They will remember me, because it's not for nothing, brother. I wasn't the one who gave myself that name. People called me the Prophet of America. I won't stay silent. If God reveals something to me, I'll speak up. But unfortunately, gentlemen, people are really arrogant when they have power. They say that pleasure drives you crazy. It wasn't 1 or 2 or 3 kings. God-fearing, they acted rightly before others and Jehovah. When they gained some power, the devil got into them and they acted foolishly. Here, pleasure makes people lose control. We even saw this with David himself. David, who was more God-fearing than him? What king was more God-fearing than David? Tell me. Was any king more God-fearing than David? He had a heart after God's own heart. God said it, not me. It's different when you say something. It's one thing for people to say it, but completely different when God says it. You heard me. It's one thing to say something about yourself, another for others to say it, but it's most powerful when God says it. Then God said, David has a heart like mine. The only man I've seen whose heart resembles mine. And brother, there are people like that. There are still people like that whom God says that about. The thing is, you just can't hear it. But there are people of whom God says, so-and-so's heart is like mine. Because don't think that it was just Samson's strength, that it was only Samson who was born. No, find out about Louis Cyr. Who was Louis Cyr? Louis Cyr was a guy who had a lot of strength in the year 1800 or something like that. He had the same gift that God gave to Samson, a gift of strength. A man, brother, I don't know if he was from the Middle East or from England, who was named Louis Cyr. He shared Samson's gift of strength. William Jane Cyr, a man to whom God gave not the same wisdom as Solomon, but something similar. The guy, I think, brother, was like 3 or 4 years old, and he already knew 5 languages. He learned, brother, Portuguese, the Portuguese language, in 1 day in 24 hours, brother. He already knew 95% of the Portuguese language and passed a test in that language. Some gifts recur in life, gentlemen. There are gifts that repeat themselves. There are gifts that repeat themselves, abilities that God gave to men in the Bible that are reappearing in this time. God said that about David and is saying it about someone else. Where is he? Maybe it's you who's watching me, maybe it's me. What does he say? His heart pleases me, it is like mine. You think the devil stopped accusing back then? No, Satan still accuses you just like he did Job. Because Cartagena is still in the same place. The sand in Cartagena hasn't moved. With the same sun and the same sand, brother, things repeat themselves. Solomon says there's nothing new under the sun. So history repeats itself. Kings who start well and end badly. Will this be the case with Milei? Will this happen with Donald Trump? I'm not sure. I don't know. What I do know is that Jehovah will come down hard on everyone who deserves it. It's that simple. And what God showed me about it will come to pass.
Ahora.
Now, any man, king, or president who strays from the commandments of Jehovah will have to answer to Jehovah. And there will be a prophet here who won't shrink from it, brother. Nor will he hesitate when it comes time to say what God tells him, whether it's for the blessing of a leader or for the judgment of a leader. No matter who it is, gentlemen. To the president of my country, brother, I shared what God showed me. I went to his office but spoke only with members of his cabinet, not him directly. And those videos, besides, were seen by a lot of people, and I know they reached him and the message got to him, because I made sure to send it to him. A message of judgment, because I'm not here to win anyone over. I have stood before presidential families. I have stood before mayors who have come to my crusade. Before female mayors. Before brothers who are lawmakers. All kinds, brother. People from the government. I have stood before famous artists. I have stood before famous actors. I have stood before famous athletes. Gentlemen, I'm not looking for views. You're not going to see me and say I'm going to upload a photo. Never. You say that because that doesn't matter to me at all. If God tells someone something and they don't understand, they'll have to answer to him. It's that simple. Because that's how this works. You either obey the Lord or God gives you over to evil. Simple and straightforward. So, I hope this message reaches President José Antonio Kast. Send him this video or tag him on all the social networks so he'll see it. Copy the video, share it, and send it to him on his Instagram account or his WhatsApp account. God bless you. God keep you. Like the video. Share this with a friend. I want to invite you to follow me on Facebook for prayer. You'll find me as Diony De La Rosa. Instagram Prophet Diony De La Rosa. TikTok Prophet Diony De La Rosa. I will be praying for you there. Write to us. And remember, our social media accounts have a lot of followers. Why? Because there are many fake accounts. Don't be fooled. God bless you. God keep you safe. Shalom. Ubraya. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet.